Hello, my name is Adam Bell. I am among other things, a tabletop game designer in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to follow the format of the Brain Trust here for a second. I wanted to make a series of videos because I'm going to start designing a new game. So a little background on what I've made so far, because there's a very good chance that unless you know me, you haven't heard of any of the stuff I've done. The very first game I've made was just a fun little party game called That's Enough Chatter, Let's See Who the Best Wizard Is, Shall We? This was a lot of fun. It just kind of showed me that, like, hey, wait a minute, why don't you make games? It was for a game jam on itch.io, the Wizard Jam. So I was like, oh, what kind of fun little game can I make about wizards? The next game I made, which is kind of the biggest one I've made so far, but the next one I started making is one called No Stone Unturned. It is the game that I made for Zine Quest last year. It did well enough. I'm pretty pleased with the way that Kickstarter went, and then pretty pleased with how the game worked out, but you can find that somewhere else. I also am working on Adam Bell's Uneasy Lies the Head, a game about royal court intrigue. I mean, there's a version on itch right now that is a perfectly fun game, but I have a lot of ideas that will take this to be something else. And then the final, most recent game that I published is called My Brain is a Stick of Butter. It's about my brain being a stick of butter. It's a solo game. It takes about a half hour or longer, depending on, depending on you. But it's about a week in the life of somebody with ADHD. You just kind of play out your week, and then I've got some mechanics in there that map my experience of ADHD reasonably well to a game, like a tabletop game. Right now, I'm looking at, it's December. We just started December 2020. I'm still not hanging out with people, so I'm making and reading games, but not playing very many. And I've got some time off work, so I figured maybe I should start planning for Zine Quest 2021. Maybe I should start planning for Zine Quest 2021, but I don't have a game. Like last year, No Stone Unturned was a game I'd been working on since March and making into a cool and good thing, and I was like, oh wow, I don't have a platform, but maybe I can get people to buy this game through Zine Quest, and that worked, and people did, and I hope they like it. I hope if you're watching this and you were a backer, thank you, and I hope you liked it. But yeah, I am going to start working on a new one. I figured today, it's going to be the first video. I want to keep these short because nobody wants to listen to me talk for a while. Maybe you do, but I doubt it. So I figured maybe I'd give that overview of what I've done so far and then start thinking about what I can do next. So I said that Uneasy Lies the Head is still in production, but I don't think this, despite it looking like a candidate for Zine Quest, I don't think it's a very good candidate for Zine Quest because the improvements I want to make to it in my mind will make it a very nice packaged, like, box product. And so if I replicate last year's success, I can expect to raise about $2,000. That'd be great. I'm not saying that I'm definitely going to. There's no hubris here, but realistically, that's probably the most that I'll do in Zine Quest unless I strike gold somehow, and that's just not enough for what I want to do with this. This is later. What am I talking about? That's nice. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I want to go through and try to come up with ideas. So I do have a lot of, I'm sure anybody involved in any creative endeavor has a lot of half-formed, half-thought ideas of games. So I think I'll start going through those to see if any of those have legs or if I'm still into them, and what I can go for. Why are these cats? Hey. So yeah, I figured I'd go through those. I have one that I have started to work on. I don't know if I like it at all. The one that I started to work on is a game about, it will be a GM'd game, which is something that I haven't made yet, so that would be fun to do, about a far-flung future where as I was saying, I've got one idea right now about a far-flung future where the climate catastrophe that we're barreling towards right now was delayed and delayed and delayed by various slapdash, technocratic, fucking Silicon Valley bro shithead ways instead of actually addressing the problem of capitalism. And where eventually, like, it came to a head and there was no way to avoid what's coming. And so basically all the rich people get on a big ship. They spend all of this effort building a big ship, and then they take everything with them. They take everybody with. They take it all. And so then you're left on Earth with, it's not a post-apocalypse necessarily, it's just a post-mess. But I don't know, that feels like a lot, it feels like a heavy subject, it feels like something that maybe I don't have the range for, I don't know. I'm not a great writer at this point in my life. I'm not bad, I guess, but yeah. So that's one thought. There are a couple other ideas that I'll go through. Maybe that's what this video will be, is like me trying to land on an idea. And if I don't land on an idea, then I'll walk through how I can come up with I'll walk through coming up with an idea and see how that goes. And try to decide if I want to make a hack of one of my games, a hack of another game. There's so many games out there that are good that I started from. No, I mean, everything's a hack. It's all hacks. Everything's a hack. What the fuck am I talking about? This is the video? Real quick, let me just go into, I throw a lot of ideas in Google Keep where they will then die. So let's see if there's anything in here worth it. A game where you all play clones trying to get your source through school. Can be represented by going to rooms and starting cards, then having to communicate the info with the source body. Everyone takes a quiz at the end. Maybe. That's actually kind of fun. I think I meant for that to be, when was this? Yeah, this is 2018, so I meant for that to be a board game, but that could be a fun RPG. A fighting game where you play cards face down in real time until someone decides to swing, then both players reveal the cards they played. The cards would all have positive and negative synergies, so you can't just play them all. I mean, that's a lot. An RPG where you make characters by rolling a clump of dice and multiplying 2 together for each stat. That's not a real idea. Why is that in here? Sand timers as cooldown markers. If there's still sand at the start of your turn, you can't reuse the power. I do like that, but I don't think that's going to be in a simple RPG. Things what would be in my RPG. Simple die rolls like PBTA. Neat but semi-vague skill trees like Mothership. Something like the hold mechanic in PBTA games. Character-based XP, failure-based XP. I think this was when I was starting this game and I was trying to think, what do I like about games? An RPG about aphantasia somehow I have listed here. I don't know how I would do that. Aphantasia being the inability to picture things in your mind. Which I'm intimately familiar with. Parallel Worlds RPG, where when you die, you don't actually die, you just keep playing from the parallel world in which you almost died but didn't somehow, and things slowly get weird as the GM changes little bits about the past and relationships and all that. That might have legs. Firebrand's game, but it's android, robot, and humans. PBTA, but the extra stats are how many d6 you roll to take the highest. That's just mechanics. Here's where it started. We're the last folks on the planet because the rich people left, but the left behind terraforming robots and machines to reboot the planet for when they return. That's the one that I was saying I don't know if I have the chops for. Baseball firebrands, a dice pool that builds up to represent wins and losses. Some way to track the progression of the season. Perhaps each time around the table, it's said that each player team plays each other's player. Everybody plays everybody. I don't know what the hell this is, but baseball firebrands might be cool. But Adair Slattery they came to play ball, so why do I need to make something similar? I could just play that and have fun. Theater company metagame. So between games would be like Forge in the Dark, Downtime. Here's more thoughts about the post-Anthropocene story. A town, maybe you go town to help. Maybe you're building your own town. Maybe you're exploring and learning about what happened. Maybe you're just fighting huge robots and sabotaging terraforming machines. Argue whether X or Y is the better Z. Choose a Z ahead of time and secretly pick a Y and X. Can't discuss beforehand. Half hour. I think this is a podcast idea. Firebrands, but with hexes? That's the whole idea. That's what I've written. A 2-player Uneasy Lies the head hack, but it's represented by a literal tug of war. So same dice mechanic of token spending and token bag, but you're moving a rope along a hex map that's a straight line. I mean, moving a rope is a great thing. I'd love to make a 2-player tug of war game. In Uneasy Lies the head hack, where cubes are placed on the board representing the power being accumulated, and each player has a playing piece to navigate the board and execute moves. The difficulty of the die roll is the number of opposing pieces adjacent. Here's a list of Slayer's class ideas: Gambler, Chef, Robot, Tinkerer, City Slicker, Bomber/Potion. Check out Slayer's by Spencer Campbell. I think that's it. That's all that I have in here. None of this really called out to me. I've got notebooks all around with game ideas. But yeah, I think that'll do for now. Maybe I'll cut this together and see if it's anything, if it's even watchable. I mean, look at me, I'm just staring into space. I think that's everything for this video. We didn't make it very far today, but I didn't expect to necessarily. I just kind of wanted to get myself together and maybe introduce what's going on here, and then tomorrow I'll try to make another one and start to actually get working on something. I don't know what yet, but I will figure it out. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Tune in again.